My sister's mother-in-law is overbearing. She does not like it when I stand my ground.
I bet you don't, but here I am, standing on that ground.
My sister is married to a man with a stay-at-home mother who has decided that adulthood through middle age is still too early to stop overparenting her children, and is also very opinionated about what everyone else should be doing. She forgot the golden rule in kindergarten: worry about yourself, not what others are doing. Especially when it comes to parenting, because she's wonderful at it, apparently. By the way, this comes from Tetterhood78 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, to keep the peace, people in my family let her get away with it. I do not. This greatly upsets her. Back when our children were in elementary school and before Sis and hubby were formally married, we all lived in the same neighborhood. I'd go to my sister's for a visit, and afterward, we'd both walk to the school to pick them up at the end of the day. Mother-in-law insisted on coming too. Sis didn't think it was a hill to die on, so I kept my mouth shut. One day, her overly critical highness decided that she did not like my child's coat, and that we needed to fix that, meaning that I would have to spend my money to buy another coat that met her approval. I love the coat, and also didn't give a crap about her preferences. So I told her that there was no need to talk about it. She kept it up constantly for almost a week, because comments like, I don't care if you like it or not, I'm not your kid, and even if I were, I'd still tell you to back off, were too vague for her to get the hint that I wasn't going to be pushed around. I tried ignoring her, tried changing the subjects. She was just fixated. So finally, I turned around and told her flat out I did not give two effing crap loads in space what she liked, and that it was none of her effing business. She got fed up with my stubbornness and advances on me, poking me hard in the chest over and over. I don't care if you're not related to me or not. You are my son's girlfriend's sister, and you will do what I tell you to do.
Yeah, so, hi. Hey, I have a question. Who freaking made you the queen of the whole universe, huh? Dude, if I saw my dad do this to my mom, I'd tackle him through the freaking ground.
I warned her not to make physical contact with me ever again, and she started screaming and sobbing and telling everyone within a 2-mile radius that she was being harassed and threatened just because she was trying to be helpful. I laughed, ha ha ha, and walked on while she was being comforted. An hour later, I had had over 20 calls, texts from people telling me to apologize to her to keep the peace, suggesting strongly that I should go out, buy another coat immediately so that she would not be upset anymore. Even one threatening to cash me outside.
I just might. No, okay, no, I wouldn't do that. It's never a good idea to escalate things into a physical altercation. It's never a good idea. If you're defending somebody, that's one thing. But if you're just going like, no acute situation, you're going, fine, all right, let's go freaking throw down. It's like not a smart thing to do.
My sister has been with her husband for 25 years, so I have tons of stories about this woman. Like one about the time my nephew and nieces couldn't come to my daughter's birthday party because I refused to invite her and my sister's boyfriend's mother's nephew's son. Or the time my baby shower was canceled because I preferred to have my friends as guests instead of my sister's boyfriend's mother's mother-in-law plus sister-in-laws, almost of whom all I've never met.
Yeah, it's like, again, who do you think you are? The queen of the world? Just so I'm supposed to invite everyone that you know now to my thing?
Or the time there was a Royal Rumble elimination style verbal cage match, 1 against 12, because I decided to use my tax refund for dental care instead of a TV. Or the family blow up because I refused to give her half of the bottles of shampoo I had bought at half price.
A lot of weirdly specific things there at the end, and all of them tell me that this woman is a freaking self-absorbed menace of a person. Yeah. I do want to catch her outside, but at the same time, I want to protect all my lovely babies from, judicial consequences. It might be the right thing to do to catch someone outside, but then you got to play within the rules of the court.
And the rules of the court is you invite them to your house on your property, and you can properly catch them outside and they be done with. Anyways, updates. Since there seemed to be so much interest in the follow-up of my sister's mother-in-law, who believes that our tenuous relationship makes her an authority over me, and who I may start referring to as Dark Helmet from now on. Here's another story. First post. Disclaimer, this story got a bit more attention than I expected. Blah, 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 blah. For Christmas every year, our extended family tradition is that each small family group does presents/stockings and breakfast with the kids at home. Then we head to grandparents' house for the turkey dinner. Then in the evening, all of these people head to my aunt's house for the big party with all the cousins, plus her partner's side of the family. There are hundreds of us. Think of a swarm of locusts. One year, my mother called about a week beforehand to let me know of a change in plans. Instead of heading to my parents' house, we were going to Dark Helmets before the big do. I was not in favor of this arrangement and bowed out gracefully. In the next few days, I underwent one of the biggest psychological ever launched. I was ruining Christmas. It wasn't fair to make them choose between me and Dark Helmet. I was destroying my kids' relationships with family. It was such a small thing. If I didn't do it, I'd be responsible for every bit of evil that exists. Blah, 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 blah. It was relentless, and I buckled on the 23rd when they got to my kids, who told me they really wanted to go. They were relieved and started telling me all about their plans, none of which I cared about. But the highlight was going to be her normally shy husband's performance of his favorite song. Once he'd had a few drinks in him, you'd see I'd be in for a real treat. The day of, we're headed to their place. She was on her best behavior. She only had a problem with the way I cooked the ham I brought, how I'd worn my natural curlier, with how my outfits always consist of dark colors, with how I was wearing a sweater that showed too much cleavage, even though I'm relatively flat-chested and haven't even met my cleavage, with how I was wearing heels even though I already was so much taller than her, how much more vain I am than she is, and a few more that I've forgotten. So she just shows up and gets attacked.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
So I'm just curious, why aren't you swinging back verbally at this woman? Where is the counterattack here?
Yeah, one good swing would probably shut her up.
Dude, you could get some good swings in, man.
I had one uncle make fun of me all the time, and then I gave him one good one, and he has never said a word to me again like that. Yeah, it works.
I just wish I could say some of the stuff rattling around in my head about what to say to this woman.
Before the food was an hour away from being ready, Dark Helmet's husband had consumed enough booze that he already felt for the night's entertainment highlight. We all gathered around in the living room. Then he opened his mouth and completely botched the words. He even got the title wrong, and it was the most repeated word in the entire song. Thanks someone singing macaroni instead of macarania.
To be fair, that's hilarious. To be fair, that actually is really funny.
Oh, it's probably like Jingle Bells. He's singing like Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells. I politely clapped with the rest of them and headed outside for some fresh air, hoping to avoid being asked for a critique. Dark Helmet cornered me just inside the door when I headed back inside. So what do you think of Jeffrey's performance? It was nice. I'm not familiar with that version he did, but he did a surprisingly good job. That's where I went wrong. What do you mean? That's the only version of the song. The version I heard was,
It was Jingle Bells, not Jingle Balls.
she laughed at me, ha ha, and then went to make fun of me for it with everyone else in the house. How silly I was, trying to correct her husband on a song he's been singing for decades. Hilarious. They thought they got such a kick out of proving me wrong. She kept harping in on it. Then I finally got frustrated enough to throw a caution to the wind. I offered to bring it up on my phone. Guys, she forbade me to use my phone to do a search and bring up the video. Forbade me!
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. Can you imagine that in court where it's just like, and that is my argument as to why my client is innocent. And no defense. You're not allowed to use, no.
Oh, and here's the evidence.
No looking that up. No, don't look anything up, though. Defense, stop it. Defense doesn't get to talk. Good night.
I, of course, did it anyways. And she tried to grab the phone out of my hand?
That's a battery, dude.
We had a legit tussle in the hallway and she started yelling? Everyone came running to see what I had done to set her off. Oh, this is perfect. And guess who did it? It was her. Oh my gosh, I love this. Yes, 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 yes. Because that is the only reasonable conclusion.
Right. And it's something that she did. It's like, wait, why is she the bad apple when it's clearly this other person?
Time out. What? I told him it was time for me to go, and I just wanted to be left alone to gather my things and get my kids ready to go home. This was unacceptable, and then I found myself surrounded by a coven of shrieking harpies, all intended on having their say. Her husband wanted an apology. My sister wanted me to keep the peace. My parents were off on a look what she's done now tangent. Brother-in-law wanted me to show respect to his mother, and his inebriated brother just saw people in confusion and decided to just throw out random loud words in the same direction everyone else was facing. What was that word?
That was confrontation.
Confrontation.
Seems like you have all of the secret techniques of the worst communicators, which is like, just blame it on... Why? She's just trying to look... She's like, no, that's actually not the right lyric. I'll look it up right now. No, you can't. What the hell are you talking about? I can't. Yeah, I can. Watch. I'll do it right now. Grabs phone, starts pulling and yanking. Help! Help! OP's trying to help!
What I was hoping was going to happen was OP would have everyone there and she was going to like confront her in front of everyone. But then she was like, I need to leave. And then everyone started yelling at her. Dude, that was not the climax I was hoping for.
Why do these people so much?
I absolutely know why. Because remember when Moses gave a plague upon the Egyptians and it was like, 7 different things? She's going to bring a plague upon these people if she doesn't get her way. Facts. So that's why everyone's like, please, for the love of God, OP, make her happy. Make her happy. That's what they're freaking out because they know that if OP sets her off, they're going to have to hear about it. They're going to have to hear about it for days on end. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Is this hitting a little too close? Maybe. Perhaps.
OP, I would just play that song at full volume. Whatever that song is.
I managed to get all of my stuff together and got my kids dressed to go. That's when Dark Helmet decided to ban me from the super party later that night. I figured it would be best to skip out anyways, so no big loss. But when the crap went sideways, when she decided that she allowed me to leave, while my kids had to stay, they were not going to let me ruin Christmas for my precious babies. They straight up backed me up through the door, then shut it and locked it. And by the way, we will never shut and lock you out just because we're done with a story. We're not done because we have stories just like this on your favorite podcast platforms. Just look up OK Storytime on Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you listen to them. We got crazy stories just like this. But holy cow! They just shoved her and put her out in the cold?
I gotta say, if I was a child watching my mother being shoved out of a house against her will, that is not my perfect Christmas. I think all of these people need to be sent, I don't know. They need to be sent to like a different moon. They need to be sent to like the moon of Jupiter. They need to be sent to Titan. They need to go freeze their tiny little shrimps off. It's nonsense, dude. This is nonsense.
I stayed outside on the lawn in 3 feet of snow in negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit weather, negative 34 degrees Celsius for about 15 minutes, weighing the pros and cons of calling the cops / trying to get myself from going nuclear.
Good point there. They're literally kidnapping right now, so call the police.
Luckily, a patrol car passed by, so I flagged them down. They went to the door with me so I could collect the kids and head home. No charges necessary. Luckily, I had picked up the fixings for dinner already, so we still managed to have a decent Christmas when we got home, all things considered. Oh, and I got to hear my daughter say, Mommy, I think Dark Helmet is bat bit insane.
You never know. It's like, I bet you the kid heard somebody else in the party being like that, say that, and then the kid probably mimicked it.
But I'm glad the kid knows that, and it's not the, Mom, you ruined Christmas, I couldn't hang out with my cousins. She was weird, and sorry. Anyways, that is the end of that story.